Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Five Guys on Live, where we are really excited to have joining us in the fifth seat, the ever-rotating fifth seat, a stranger to none, our dear friend and former co-host, Clayton J, also known affectionately as CJ. CJ, welcome back.
Hey, everyone. Woo, woo. You should have introduced me as an OG. I started
CJ,
Five Guys
you
on Live.
are an OG. You know what? I can't deny that you are an OG. You give us Sheree Whitfield vibes. And we are so glad that you could be here with us tonight. Everyone out there in the online world, to all of our family, lovers, and friends, please go ahead and order some She by Sheree in honor of Clayton J.
Did you
I will not
say
be
lovers?
Sheree.
Child.
No, you know what? Let me explain that. Darius, I feel as though everyone watching falls into one of those three buckets. They are either family, friends, or lovers. So there are family, lovers, and friends. That's our audience. Those are the people who watch our show, and we love you. We love you for that. CJ,
But you will not give me Sheree, though. That what you will not do is give me Sheree.
But what would you like, Deshaun Snow? Lisa Wu?
I'll take Lisa Wu. Oh, no, bad. Lisa Wu.
We'll talk a little bit. I have a whole lot.
I can actually do Kim because Kim actually stayed on for a long time, and she came back, and she kept, so she did more than.
And Kim had a spinoff, and you had a spinoff, right?
Thank you.
With a very successful spinoff. I listened to several episodes of the brand new podcast. Cannot wait for you guys to go back to make new content, CJ. So that's something that I hope to also talk about in the after show.
No, Papa, because if you really followed us, you already know season 3 dropped, and we just recorded episode 2 tonight. So,
good job.
Yeah, new content's already been out, boo.
Wait a minute. I haven't missed. CJ, I have not missed.
But you know who knew the new season dropped? Darius knew.
Did I?
Oh,
I didn't know. I subscribed.
No, he wasn't. But
I subscribed
Clarence is his good dear brother, so I just assumed that he may have knew.
Let me say this: I subscribe to the podcast, and I haven't gotten an alert in my Apple Podcast. So I listen and I wait. I listen to as soon as your episodes drop. I listen to it. I go through it. So I have not seen a new alert in my Apple Podcast. I'm a subscriber.
Well, maybe you didn't do the iOS update. I don't know. But the new episode, and I appreciate you for being a subscriber, but the new episode dropped 2 weeks ago, actually. And we just recorded the episode 2 hours ago.
I have not updated iOS, but I don't think that's necessary to get the flow in. But nonetheless, while I have not updated iOS, I am updated on breaking news. We have a lot to talk about tonight, beginning with this huge story that has taken the social media world by storm. It's been all over a number of media platforms, from world news to sports news. And it is a story of Boston Celtics coach Ime Udoka and his alleged affair or misconduct with an unknown member of the Boston Celtics family that has resulted in his 1-year indefinite suspension from the Celtics. This story was brought to us, I think, who brought this story? Was it Vince or Zach?
It was me.
Go ahead and tell us, Zach, about Ime Udoka and your thoughts regarding, because I have a lot to say, but I'm going to let you know, I'll say it later.
I can't wait to hear. So yes, as you said, Ime Udoka, definitely married to the lovely and great Nia Long, was allegedly caught cheating on his wife with a Celtics family employee. It was rumored by Black Twitter who the woman was, but they said that's false and it's not her. And so they had her picture painted out there as well. But this story gets interesting each day you read about it. So you're hearing that the Celtics knew about the infidelity and the consensual agreement that they had, a relationship they had for over a year. We hearing that they found out about it by her husband because he saw a ring, heard the conversation through the ring on the door. And then you hear that Nia found out when everybody else found out. And so I would love to hear what the guys think about this.
And as a point of clarity, Deborah, you are correct. And
they're not married,
like
right?
Misspeak, they are not married. They are engaged,
Correct.
and it has been a long engagement.
Yes, my
Well, yeah, I'll say something really quickly. First off, I thought he was Juan Dixon. If you look real quick, I was like, wait, ain't that Robin? Soon to be husband or what have you. And also to Zach's point, with more news constantly coming out day to day, I believe I read something today that the travel coordinator for the Celtics was also Nia Long's travel coordinator. So that was sort of, they were in cahoots to making sure that, the paths never really crossed or what have you. So, I mean, the entire thing is extremely messy, very, very sticky, very unfortunate, of course, to Nia Long or what have you. I was just shocked that there was a, I guess they called it an improper, intimate, and consensual relationship. I was just shocked that was sort of in the bylaws of the Celtics or the NBA, whatever that looks like. I think that a lot of, co-worker-esque type relationships often happen, on a day-to-day basis. So I didn't know, even outside of course, the infidelity, which is unfortunate and the saddest part. But in terms of just the office side of it, I didn't think that it would be this major blow up.
So I definitely think it's sad that if this is true, that Nia Long has to endure all this. But honestly, why are they really putting this much energy into this man allegedly cheating on Nia Long? Like, this is not like Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are they making it so much more than what it really needs to be? I'm just confused with it. Like, if he did it, I feel bad for Nia Long, but like, I mean, I don't understand why they just blown it to more than what it really needs to be. I guess that's my question.
I think that
because, go ahead, Darius. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say it seems like, I mean, they of course not released who the person is yet, but it seems like this person must be someone who is a direct report of his, because a lot of times you're not allowed to have relationships with people in a workplace, especially if they are your superior in terms of a person that could affect your employment, or someone who might be able to provide you with bonuses or like things like that are related to you, advancing in the company or things like that. So it seems like this must be someone who's directly reporting to him. But the bigger issue is that I always see like this Twitter thing is always about, if Beyonce can get cheated on, then anybody can get cheated on. It gets a little disgusting to see how people will always put the onus on the woman, like a woman can do something to prevent a man from cheating, or a woman can be great enough to keep a man from cheating. When in reality, the only thing that will keep a man from cheating is a man not wanting to cheat. So I think that's a major part of the conversation, as well as we think about people who are, committing infidelity and things like that. Like, the blame shouldn't automatically go to the woman. The blame should be on the person who's cheating.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree 100% as well. And, Deborah, I have been involved in long relationships that have led nowhere as well. So I sympathize with Nia Long. I want to say this, right? This is what I say when I have a lot to say. Number one, I'm very disappointed. Am I coming across clear? My internet, is it sketchy or no? Okay. I want to say that I'm disappointed in how, number one, the news media has swooped on this, and they are quick to flood the whole entire internet and all over the media platforms with rumors. At one point, it was rumored that it was the vice president's wife, who is a young white professional woman. And I think that's part of what could have led to so much interest in the case, because as much as we want to deny the fact that the racial politics of America are still in play, they are still in play. In addition to that, I'm very disappointed that there's so many people who wanted to attack this female for being the victim. Many people want to misalign her in favor of him. And I think that's never appropriate, and it's never okay. No matter what the case may be, this man has done something inappropriate and has been found for violating the guidelines of his workplace. That to me isn't defensible. And throwing the female out there, or throwing the woman out there, or throwing the victim out there, whether she was complicit or not, is never appropriate. But that is what happens too often in this male-dominated world. So it really makes me angry, and I'm very disappointed at that. But exactly, Deborah took the words right out of my mouth. Meanwhile, Brett Favre. I have not seen any coverage on ESPN about how this man stole money from the poorest people of Mississippi with the backing of the Mississippi government and the executive branch of leadership in that state. That's not being covered. ESPN jumped on this. ESPN was quick to make this a focal point, as they are every single time a Black athlete or Black professional in any sports industry will do any wrongdoing. But when it is not a Black person, you rarely hear about it. I'm still waiting for ESPN and for national news media to take responsibility for highlighting the wrongdoings of Brett Favre. I am shocked at how many people go to my TikTok that I made about this story and say, oh my God, I had no idea. Even TikTok isn't really even showing the content. I had a piece of content about Chick-fil-A, and their most recent racist snafu is gotten 86,000 views. My video about what Brett Favre has done has gotten 4,600. And I can't make that make sense.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely, we're not talking about Brett Favre. They did do a small snippet with Shannon Sharp on his show when he talked about Brett Favre. No, he's not on Fox. He's on ESPN. Meanwhile, with what's his name, Colin Kaepernick, they talked about what's his name with the dog fighting from Atlanta, the former Michael Vick, and then now this Black man. But they're not talking about Brett at all.
The reason why I to this day am not able to support the Atlanta Falcons. So if anyone in the world ever wanted to know why I can't support the Falcons, yep, I have been boycotting them since 2004 and 2006 with Michael Vick. And I still stand 10 toes down in my refusal to support the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, that's not the story here. But
it's relevant. It's relevant because they're going to railroad and end a Black man's career every single time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Over some dogs. He sat down and ate them dogs.
Okay, I thought you were saying you don't support the Atlanta Falcons because Michael Vick and the dogs.
That's why I don't support him.
Oh, that they did that to him. Okay, gotcha.
That man was sitting there playing with them dogs and whatnot, and he lost everything. And then Brett Favre is sitting here stealing money so his daughter can play in a better gym.
Right. Yeah, but
and it
does bring up a point, especially within the workforce. And I agree with you, Darius, that if it's in a line of direct contact or any kind of supervision role, it shouldn't be there. But if you have consensual relationship with a coworker, should that lead to violations of policies? You're adults who have consensual relationship.
Sometimes, I mean, in some policies, you even have to disclose those like personal relationships. Mm-hmm. I just think that, whatever it is, if they're finding him in violation of it, it's something he agreed to at the end of the day. And so whether or not the policy is, outdated or, antiquated, whatever it is, it has to be a policy that he agreed to in order for them to, bring consequences to him for it. Whatever it is, it's unfortunate for, everyone involved, including the team. I saw some people had spoken out about this situation only to find out more information. I can't remember who it was that has spoken out against the Celtics decision. And then he came back and was like, whoa, y'all, I just found out some more information. And I'm telling y'all now, like, this is a lot more serious than they're sharing right now. So I think we all just sit back and kind of see what it is that actually happened. But in the meantime, I know this has to be embarrassing for not only him, but also for his fiance and for whomever that staffer is and for the entire team. So whatever it is, I hope that they're able to, solve the situation. But Nia Long, that's a bad woman, okay? And she'll be fine even after this mess with him.
Nia Long is going to be, she's a beautiful woman who has had an amazing career and will continue to have an amazing career. There's no question in my mind that Nia Long she to me is at the Beyonce level of her career where, she may not have the same level of fame and notoriety. She may not even have the same amount of bank, but she works when she wants to work. She does what she wants to do because that is who she is. And I think that, to me, is the epitome of what it means to truly be successful in your career, is that you're able to work when you want to work and you're able to do the things that are meaningful to you. I hope that the same thing can one day happen for Sunny Hostin from The View, but I'm afraid it will not. I personally think Sunny Hostin is absolutely out of control, but we will see what you think about this, because this is a story that Zach Thomas brought also to the forefront with a huge snafu from our girl, Sunny Hostin. Well, your girl, because I don't think I like her no more. Zach, tell us about it.
Yeah, I think we talked about this one time on the show, that Sunny is getting out of control. She is really feeling herself and smelling herself, as they used to say back in the day. But Sunny was come under fire this week because
what she smell? What do you think she smelled like? I mean, that's an old country phrase. I never understood it when they say you smelling yourself. What do you think Sunny Hostin smells like?
Outdoors.
That chicken coop. That chicken coop.
Kermit, you said Kermit?
No, Zach, I was gonna say the phrase is about, once you get hormones and you start to perspire in places, that's what it's about, smelling yourself. You think you're getting grown. You get massaged.
Right, but what do you think Sunny Hostin smells like?
Right now, I think she smell like that chicken coop. Them chickens in here, she been keeping.
Chanel number 9.
A farmhouse.
I think Sunny Hostin smells like bananas, mushed bananas. But continue, Zach Thomas.
But so she's come under fire this week for calling former Republican Governor Nikki Haley a chameleon. And Nikki lashed out, calling it racist, as well as other Republican pundits have called it racist. So she called her a chameleon because Nikki does not go by her real name. And I don't want to butcher it. But Sunny also doesn't go by her real name. And so I brought this story because me and the other Zach go back and forth about this, because I don't go by my first name, which is Absalom. I go by Zach, my middle name, Zachariah. And there are different reasons why I do that. And so it's solely interesting. And I wanted to see the takes of the guys as far as the story.
So how do you say her name? Is it Nimrata? Is that how you pronounce it?
Nikki Haley went on Fox News, and Nikki Haley said on Fox News that her birth certificate says Nikki.
But her first name is
Nimrata.
Nimrata. Nikki is her middle name. It is on her birth certificate.
It's her middle name, yeah.
Yeah, she said that to say her first name. I mean, that name is on her birth certificate, but Sunny isn't on her birth certificate.
Right.
And I also want to just put this back into context, because I watched the episode, and Sunny said that Nikki chose to use her name Nikki to disguise herself as a chameleon to get further in whatever, but basically, even though she is of Indian descent, because Nikki is a more universal or quote unquote white name, then she wanted to use that to get further, so on and so forth, and then that brought onto the racial allegations, yada, 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 all that stuff or what have you. When Sunny said that, I cringed. I definitely cringed, because I feel that Sunny she has become so adamant about just the far right and MAGA Republicans and the rhetoric and the banter that they always use, and not unifying people, and just everything that they do. And I feel like what Sunny did that day was right out of the Trump playbook. I feel like anybody out of that Trump side, out of that MAGA side, that what she said, I would not be surprised if, like Marjorie Taylor Greene said against somebody else. I'm just being honest. And I know we've talked about Sunny at length as of the recent year or so, definitely during the pandemic season of The View. She's definitely, I feel like, I don't know what it is. Either a producer is saying, sell us some good TV, or if you're trying to bite off the housewives and be intentionally shady, I don't know what it is, but she's definitely not in the same disposition, I would say, to when she first started on The View. And for me, she has become very bothersome, even with the new Republican lady on there. Like, I just don't like how she handles her. And this new lady isn't even near as annoying as Meghan McCain was. And she's bringing some great insight about the Republican Party and so on and so forth. And it's like she's just constantly darting her and tearing her down and interrupting her and all that stuff. So she's cruel. She's being very cruel. So I'm not really on the Sunny bandwagon right now.
And so, Deborah, to kind of summarize the argument, right? She's like, I don't see what's wrong. Basically, Sunny Hostin's kind of misused and misspoke. What she accused Nikki Haley of is white passing and saying that she uses her name, Nikki, to be more appealing to white people. And Nikki Haley came out and said that was racist. And of course, Fox News and a number of conservatives agreed. But also, so too did just a number of people in general, because it's not right. It's really, I agree with you, Vince. It's not right what she did. I can't say that Nikki Haley isn't a chameleon. We know that, but it's not the place of a Black woman to call out an Indian woman for being white passing. That's not her place. That's not her place. There is no white person in America who has the right to tell Candace Owens she's not Black, including President Joseph R. Biden. But let me tell you, I can most certainly call out Candace Owens and Christian Walker and Herschel Walker and say the things that you are doing for the approval and the validation of white people is detrimental to our community. I can say that, but a white person can't. And Sunny Hostin should not have said what she said about Nikki. That is the argument, I think, here. Zach, you don't agree?
No, I agree. I agree because, I don't go by my first name, but it's not because I'm trying to pass for a white man, because obviously you can see that I'm not.
We appreciate it, Abby.
What you say?
He called you Abby.
I mean, if you shorten Absalom to a new nickname so we don't have to have two Zachs.
Ain't nobody gonna be no Abby.
Right, we could take, instead of there being two Zachs that can be confusing to the audience, we can start using Abby.
Well, why don't you just go by Zachary?
I'm fine with Zachary.
Okay. And so for me, a lot of people can't pronounce Absalom.
It's literally right there.
Okay, good. So they can't pronounce Absalom, and so they say Solomon or Abraham or others. And so I'm like, I can go by Zach, and I've been going by Zach since I was a child. So.
And I blame Brett Favre for that too, because Mississippi education could have benefited from those millions of dollars that he stole. That's a childhood trauma, Zach, and we can fix that with that money.
It's not trauma for me.
Sounds like you're still healing. CJ, what do you think about that? I know that you like The View, especially now that your favorite girl is no longer on television. Wendy Williams is now watching television from her facility. What do you think about this one?
First of all, why'd you have to bring Wendy Williams into it?
They always do, CJ. Jesus.
But CJ, she's your favorite girl.
He can't help it.
I love Wendy Williams. Yes, I do. She's going through, what's called life right now. She's going through some things.
Yes, she is, CJ.
And all we could do is pray for her, if you have it true in your heart to want to pray for someone and uplift them in their time of need.
Ask Tabitha Brown to pray for her.
That's okay. We'll pass on the.
But anyway, do I think Sunny had the right to say that? I'm in agreement with you, Zach. No, I don't think she had the right to say that. However, I think she's not wrong for stating her opinion either.
I think that she could have relayed her point without attacking the personal choices, I guess, because I know we have a lot of conversations about people, especially people from other cultures who have names that might not be common in America, and how they have had to change their names or go by different nicknames just so they can assimilate into American culture, and so they won't be questioned as much. Or simply because people, as Zach said, can't pronounce their name, which I also think is lazy, on behalf of people who just choose not to learn how to pronounce your name. And Sunny even made the same comment that she chooses to go by Sunny because most Americans can't pronounce her name. However, I think the sentiment was that as a person of color, you should be fighting for the rights of people who identify with you, but instead of doing that, you have aligned yourself with a culture that otherwise would not give a damn about you. And I think she could have said that without attacking her name or making it a racially charged or cultural statement.
Nikki Haley said on Fox News in the clip that I saw in doing my research that the Republicans and conservatives are the ones who have pushed for racial healing and reconciliation by emphasizing that you blacks aren't victims. And it is the Democrats and the liberals, especially of the Democratic Party, that are racist. And this is a prime example of the racism that liberals indicate and spew on media, that they want you blacks to remain victimized and to see yourselves as victims, and they make you feel like you're victims, and racism isn't a problem in America, only among liberals. That's what Nikki Haley said today in the clip that I saw on Fox News.
We're just going to ignore the China virus and the Kung flu and the Kiranji, Kifanji. We're going to ignore all of that. Kamala, Lala, Lala. We're going to ignore all of that. We're just going to fast forward to Democrats fighting for equity through programming and through funding. Okay, gotcha.
Or we're going to ignore the fact that, like what Deborah said here, that the Food Network moved Tabitha Brown's show. All of these things and all the examples given, prime examples of racism, testing out that, and it is prime examples of racism. I agree with you. I just wanted to share what Nikki Haley said and how people like Nikki Haley go on Fox News and flip it around. And then when I heard that, it made me think to myself, if all I do is watch Fox News, or if all I see is Fox News, that's the talking point they repeat over and over and over and over and over again, I will be inclined to be like, wow, these liberals, every time I hear them bring up racial issues, they're the ones perpetuating racism. Because when I watch Fox News, I don't hear anything about racial problems.
Especially them having a black news anchor interview.
That's what was doing the interview.
Like, I found that very strategic. Yep. Like, okay, this is definitely intentional.
And she was amening and agreeing with everything that Nikki Haley said. I don't even know her name because I don't watch Fox News. I only watched it for the clip, but that's exactly what I saw as well in doing my research. And somebody who I really wish would have done more research is Alex Jones. But I think that Alex Jones did do his research. This is the man who was the creator and founder of InfoWars. And he was responsible for, after the Sandy Hook mass murder massacre that happened, he flipped it and was saying that this wasn't real. He was literally saying that these poor children who lost their lives didn't even lose their lives. They were paid actors as a part of a liberal conspiracy to discredit gun control. And this man spewed these lies and this misinformation for years. Finally, he has gone to trial. He has been found liable, and now he is again going to trial to determine how much money beyond the $50 million already designated will be owed to the victims of his lies. This is one piece of the story. In addition to what we have happening with Alex Jones, we have this young lady right here, Tasha K. And we know that she also was found guilty. I think it was $4 million that she's owed to Cardi B for slander and libel as well. And now this is my topic, because what I want to know from you guys is what responsibility exists within the media and even people like us who have a platform to just simply tell the truth. And when we don't do that, should we really be held accountable as content creators?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're on a platform where you're giving out information and talking about trending topics, you should definitely know what the hell you're talking about. And you should not be giving out falsified information. And if you do, then you should be held accountable for that. Like, why wouldn't you be?
Listen, I'm really not trying to take it here, but you, or not to be so extreme, but when you think of the startings of of Adolf Hitler, he started in public forum. He started in bars. He started on the street corner. He started at the newspaper stands, and then he eventually built the entire Nazi empire. So starting in these small spaces, or not even small spaces, as a content creator, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever your channel is, you really can impact the entire world or what have you. So I definitely agree that you have to and should be held accountable to the highest standard on misinformation, on not telling the truth, on degrading and slandering and creating things, and not only affecting, the livelihood of the people that you are attacking, but just the perception and altering people's reality or truth of how, their consumers or fans or whatever may be receiving them or have you. I definitely think that they have to be held accountable. And I do know that Tasha K, like Cardi B, is about to seize her assets. A report came out like 3-4 days ago on that. So yeah, and also you'll probably get to this, but Nicki Minaj is about to, taking the other lady to court for the drug allegations. So yeah, like people need to be held accountable, 5,000%.
And I agree.
There are absolutely tons of lawsuits out there, but here's the thing, right? And so again, Deborah said, let's talk about Fox News. We are living in an America where the media is constantly pushing the envelope on what's real and what's not real, and they're constantly pushing conspiracy theories and propaganda, and it's being allowed to infiltrate the airways. We have a former president of the United States of America who is literally trying to rewrite history and saying things happened that didn't happen. We have a whole entire branch of our government or a political party who is something that we all saw with our own eyes, the January 6th insurrection. They are trying to undo the whole concept that this even happened. We saw these people try to overthrow the American government, but we're living in a time frame where people are saying it's not happening. Are we going to be able to win with the truth? And we talked about also, as TMZ, how much of this is our fault? Like, I'm talking about like how much of this is our fault? We talked earlier about Coach Udoka. Why do we care who he slept with? Why do we care? There was, you people watch and go to the Shade Room and TMZ and what's your other favorites for gossip and
the neighborhood talk. The neighborhood talk. You said what?
No, I didn't say your name specifically.
Oh, well. You have Hollywood Unlocked. You have the Neighborhood Talk, the Jasmine Brand, Shade Room, TMZ. I mean,
Wendy Williams, all of these people, the Breakfast Club, right? Like, we are literally making them millions of dollars off of garbage. There was a whole thing about the baby and his new son talking about he slept with Megan. Who cares if he slept with Megan?
But
how do we care?
So hold on. So you said, who cares if the baby slept with Megan? Well, why do we care if the coach from Celtics slept with someone that he works with?
We don't. That's what I'm saying.
We do.
About what these people are doing if they're not breaking laws.
But you also have to remember that not only sex sells, negativity sells. And this is the culture that we have enabled, that we have encouraged, and that we're living and sitting in right now in this exact moment. Like, anything that's negative, people are going to take it to the wind and run with it. So that's our reality right now.
That's a true statement, Vince. That's very true. And Wendy Williams doesn't tell lies either. She tells what's already out there, just so you know that.
I also think
I definitely go ahead, Vince.
No, I was going to say legality is important, but ethics are also important. So that's why sometimes it does matter, especially in workplaces. So I just don't want us to make light of the situation with this coach, because there's no telling what type of power dynamic was at play, and I do think that makes a difference.
No, I agree with you. But then also, like, the fact that I can find more news articles about this coach than I can find about the Brett Favre welfare scandal is alarming to me, and I think that it speaks to a bigger problem that we have, and I think a lot of it is being perpetuated by our community. Like, to me, right? I can go on Twitter and I can see more Black people arguing about Team Cardi B, or what do they call the Barties, the Team Barty, as opposed what are they called?
I don't know.
Barty gang. Barty gang.
Right, you have the Barty gang arguing with the Barbs. Okay, like, there are more Black people on social media fighting
leave us out of it. The Barbs ain't did nothing today. That was Akbar and Cardi B. We ain't have nothing.
Well, I'm just saying, when I look at what's trending on Twitter, I see more discussion among Cardi B and Nicki Minaj fans than I see Black people arguing against voter suppression, against the fact that the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, declined over he received $4 billion in COVID relief money, but yeah, we have I think 6 hospitals have closed, 19 on the verge of closure, all of them in rural and poor communities, impacting Black people. The things that really matter to us, we're not arguing about, we're not talking about, we don't even know about those things, but we know about Cardi B and we know about Nicki Minaj. We're arguing about BBLs.
Well, let me ask you this. Why is there not an outlet? Why don't you make an outlet to where people can get this kind of news? How you have the shade stuff?
It's like they said.
Well, how about this?
Listen to it.
Well, how about this? I also feel that, and this is just me taking a stab in the dark, I feel that people sort of hop on these bandwagons of salacious, negative things that may seem tangible or that they can touch. I feel like the Brett Favre situation, like if there's anything salacious or crazy going on in the government, it's like, okay, we can only address it. But as a person, I feel I can only do so much. But in terms of like a Cardi or a Nicki or anything like that, like, okay, like I could see them in concert. I could buy their album. I could stream their songs. I could watch Tasha K. So I feel like as human beings, maybe that may be a reason if I feel connected to you in like a quicker dimensional way. I don't know if that makes any type of sense. Maybe that's why we care so much. Maybe.
Well, let me ask, how can you can feel connected through their music and whatever talent they're displaying and showing, whatever, but like, why can't we be connected to the things that are happening in our community? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. You're never going to meet, I mean, I'm not saying you're not going to meet Cardi B or whatever you might, I'm just saying, but like, you don't have a relationship with these celebrities like that, but you do have a relationship with the people that's in your community and things that are going on. So I don't get that.
I did indeed meet Cardi B. Now, I didn't speak to her. She didn't speak to me. She
well.
was at a gas station off of MLK as I was going to the Adamsville Rec Center for spin class. And I noticed this is going to sound crazy, but she was in that gas station with some woman and they were buying a whole lot of Skittles. And I'm talking about like all the Skittles in the store. I don't know what they were doing with the Skittles. I don't know what was happening with the Skittles. I just know she was in there, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Cardi B." I'm just saying.
Well, you know what I meant when I said that, though. Yeah, and I get that we are connected through their music and all that, but like.
But how about this? I'll do another one for you. Not to turn this conversation into political, but just as we have Trump and the MAGA party, and how we, as 5 Black men, are completely disconnected from that speech, completely disconnected from that rhetoric and that mentality and that their goals. There is a group of people that believe and are for that. So correlating it to this situation, even though Cardi B won the lawsuit, Tasha K is still streaming. She's still collecting views. People are still supporting her podcast and donating to her cause and helping her fight this lawsuit. So somewhere out there, there is always a group of people that are pro-antagonizers. And because these antagonizers may seem, feel, or heard, then they say, let me jump on this ship and ride it out, so maybe that's it.
And she's very compelling as well.
That was going to be,
I watched her interview and she was standing 10 toes down on that thing. She was dead. Like, I'm just telling my truth. And I can see how someone might feel like, okay, there's some honesty to what she's saying. And that Cardi B might be able to use her power of influence to prevent certain things from coming to the light. I can see how some people might be, compelled to believe what Tasha K was saying, but I don't care about Cardi B or her Skittles or her sexual, record and her bill of health.
That part, Derek, she ain't putting no money in my pocket.
And then went up there and
took Cardi B may not have put any money in your pocket.
I mean, I love Cardi B. I love Cardi B, but she's not putting money in my pocket. So why would I really care about?
I bet y'all being real careful about what you say about Cardi B tonight.
But listen,
I already know, baby. Okay, allegedly.
Right. I agree with Darius and CJ, but also from the content creator's perspective, like a Tasha K or the gentleman that, put those false rumors about the children that died at Sandy Hook, the amount of money that is way over their net worth. Like further down the line, do you truly see these sites as you listed, Neighborhood Talk, Shade Room, content creators? Do you see them pulling back and trying to be more rounded because they may be in the same ship as them having to pay $1.3 million knowing they're only worth $40K? Will that sort of change the tide in things?
I don't follow the Shade Room because I feel like they post very outlandish things. But a page like the Neighborhood Talk, I see them, you can tell that they have journalistic training. At least somebody on their team does. Like, you can tell they use allegedly. You can tell that even he posted a a screenshot today of a conversation that his team was having where he had to fact check some information and didn't allow them to post it because it wasn't true. So you can tell that there is some journalistic integrity. And I think that may be the reason why Kyle left the shade room in the first place. Or even if you look at how TMZ was trying to, they always are trying to release information first, even with the Kobe Bryant situation. They always want to release information first, and then they have to come back and recant again. And so I think that it's just important for people as consumers to decide where they're going to source their truth. And for me, I'm not sourcing anything from TMZ.
You know, and while we may not be able to meet Cardi B, personally, it is the possibility that there's a young lady in California who will be able to meet Cardi B. Vince, go ahead and tell us all about these young ladies and what they're doing on the USC dance team.
Yeah, okay, cool. Here we go. So recently, University of Southern California, which we know all to be a PWI, there is a wonderful woman there by the name of Isis. By the name of Isis. She basically started her own majorette team, JSET team at USC. We know that a lot of times this type of dance team does not really cross paths with a PWI, a core style band, if you're familiar with that band talk in the marching band world or what have you. And because it has become such a major headline in USC, California at large, and it's been getting a lot of praise, it's also have been met with a lot of criticism. And I believe watching her interview, she just believed that even though she goes to a predominantly white school, she believes that it's important for, Black dancers, Black women, Black people, that they are able to share and bring their culture, HBCU culture, which is what she actually said in the interview with NBC, to that school. And it seems like the people that are standing behind the dancers, are well received, and they kept energy up, and they're phenomenally talented too, which I have to credit as a person that's hosted many Battle of the Bands events. Like, they weren't whack at all. Like, they were really, really good. So do you feel, gentlemen, like attending a PWI, that bringing HBCU culture is a great thing to do? Should it sort of be left at HBCUs only? Like, what's your thoughts around it?
As someone who went to a PWI, and Rhonda, that means a predominantly white institution, right? A college or university, as opposed to a historically Black college university. I personally feel as though if this is something that these young people want to do, then they should be able to do it, right? These are Black women who are doing this. In addition to that, I feel as though if it's popular and it's able to work, like let it be. I don't think that we should police these Black women for wanting to celebrate their culture. A lot of these students go to high schools where they have different dance styles, right? So this isn't something that, like, again, I know there are high school bands right here in the city of Atlanta that implement or employ a HBCU band style of dance at the high schools. They're trained to do it. And so there are white kids at these schools, there are Hispanic kids at these schools, they're not all Black high schools. So to then say that this is the complete own dominion of HBCUs, I think is unfair. I do think it's appropriate to give the JSETs credit for creating the style, if that's what they're imitating and mocking. But I don't think that it can only be done at an HBCU. And again, this is a Black girl. Let her have her moment, let her have her shine, let her be an innovator and someone who's breaking down doors.
Wait, are they saying that she's mocking the dance because she goes to a PWI?
No, most of the people have said that she should have went to a HBCU if she wanted to join a dance team. And so that's a lot of criticism.
Maybe she wanted to bring that, majorette JSET into a PWI.
That's what she did. That's what she was.
She did that. Yeah. And to Zach's point, definitely a lot of community groups and auxiliary groups. We had Bring It with Coach D, who implemented that style of dance and now has competitions. And so a lot of those girls don't necessarily go on to a HBCU, but they go to predominantly white institutions. And to keep that up, they want to have that in their institutions. Hell, if my organization Alpha would have stayed at a PWI, we wouldn't be at Howard and other HBCUs. And so definitely understanding that we are branching out and that we need to have our culture wherever we are and feel a sense of our belonging.
Did you say that Coach D implemented this dance, majorette?
No, I didn't
Like
say she implemented, but I said she did it for community and auxiliary groups as well.
You know, and I get it, Deborah. I do understand this perspective and this point of view, but do you know how challenging it is for Black students to find a sense of culture at a white university? How isolated that they often feel and how disconnected they are from campus life? They have a right to create whatever communities they can to belong.
Yeah.
Darius doesn't care. Say it.
I just feel like, it's easy from the outside looking in to just look at these types of organizations and think it's just about dancing, or that a glee club is just about singing, or that a marching band is just about marching. But anyone who has attended the HBCU and has been a part of a auxiliary group, such as Vince, were you in the band at FAMU?
Yeah.
Okay, and of course, I was in the Glee Club at Morehouse. I have friends who have been, done different things. It's never just about that. So if they're able to preserve the history, the community service, the tradition, if they're able to actually get a true understanding of what the root of it is and make sure that they're doing it in the spirit that it was created, then by all means, knock yourself out, but don't just think that people go to HBCUs and shake their ass and that's the culture of a HBCU. So has she just said that this was a style of dance that they like, but to say bring a HBCU culture to a PWI, I just think that is a kind of ignorant statement, and just ignorant because she doesn't know any better.
Is that something that Princess actually said, or?
I don't think so.
Her name is Isis.
I thought it was Princess Isis Lane.
Oh yeah, Princess Isis Lane. My bad.
Is this something that Princess actually said, Darius, or is that something a news article said?
I'm not sure. Someone just said that was a direct quote. Who was it that said that was the quote?
I said it. I was just paraphrasing. I didn't read the entire passage of what she said and what the choreographer said about their reasons why they wanted to bring this to a PWI. But just looking at the interviews and reading the interview, it did seem as if they are equipped in knowing about the root of J setting, majorettes, the power behind it, everything that you just mentioned. It wasn't just for show, just to do. I got 6 girls that got rhythm, and we just coming in the stands today.
Yeah, I printed the article because I read actually faster than what I'm a faster reader than I am a listener. And the article is slanted that way because that's what gets clicks. That's what draws controversy. But no, that's not what Princess actually said. She actually said that this is a perfect way to showcase and uplift Black dancers, Black artists, and Black joy overall. And when you look at this image, right? Like I look at this picture of these girls and I think to myself, they feel beautiful. They feel seen. And so often in large environments provided at a PWI, they're not the beauty standard of their peers. They're not looked upon or seen for the beautiful women that they are. So I love this. And I'm thankful that it does. It reminds me of a piece of Black history that I rarely share this with people. And it's been maybe 16 years since I graduated college. But it's literally, pardon me, sir.
Go ahead.
This is literally the week when history was made at Mississippi State University, the PWI that I attended. At Mississippi State University, many Black students did not feel seen, did not feel valued, and we were not involved in a lot of different things. Every now and then, a Black student would run for an office here and there. Typically, they would lose. When I became a senior at Mississippi State University, I brought all of the Black people together in my campaign to become president of the Black Student Alliance. And I said, we are going to leave an impact on this campus as Black students. And I corralled all of the Black people that I could get, and we created a whole entire coalition where we were able to create an all-Black homecoming court, so that we could put our Black women on the forefront and change the history and the culture of that school. And no, we didn't change the culture, but we certainly made history because we won. 500 plus Black students block voted for the Black candidates that we ran, and we were able to have a Black homecoming queen, a Black senior maid, a Black junior maid, a Black sophomore maid, and a Black freshman maid. And we were able to do it not just 1 year, but we did it 2 years in a row. That is what we were able to do so that the women that I went to school with and matriculated up through were able to get that recognition. And what made it even more beautiful is that these women were a variety of representations of our culture, a variety. And sometimes you guys may see here on Facebook, Angela Maxwell. She was the second Black woman in that second year, my grad school year, who was named our homecoming queen. So, you know, again, that's the power that we give to these young Black women when we let them be seen and let them have an opportunity to just stand out, no matter how they do it.
But then again, I think this is also an opportunity to highlight our culture as well, because this is a form of dance. And so just like you're learning jazz, lyrical, ballet, I think people might be learning majorette in classes and teaching that, because I'm looking at a video of the choreographer who's helping these young ladies do that. And so you have to understand that is filtering over to the PWIs as well as a form of dance that is becoming mainstream as well. So.
And also, again, Zach Thomas made history. His university as the first, as a Black Mr. United University of Southern Mississippi, another predominantly Black college. Let me tell you who did not make the homecoming court. The man who ran to be the first Black Mr. Mississippi State University, because a random Black person ran against me. His name was Darren Radcliffe. That's his name.
I'm talking about me having some trauma in my history. You might.
It's not trauma. It's just facts. It's not trauma. It's just facts.
After being
you
away
always
35
got that
years.
one. You always got that one.
You sound upset still after being 35 years out of college. So
I've been out of college for less than 15, maybe 12 years. And somebody who's been out of college for a little bit longer than that is the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Old Gavin here is being rumored as a possible presidential candidate for the Democratic Party in the event that Joseph R. Biden does not run. Tell us, Vince, what he's done in California.
I was ready for him to say that the other Zach has been out of college longer than he has. I'm sorry, that would have been a more ideal transition for you.
But that wouldn't be fact, and he can get sued for that. He can get sued for that.
Okay, guys, so here we go. I'm just going to make this really quick. I know we have about 8 minutes left. So social media, all social media platforms are definitely under fire right now, statewide, if you will. Especially heading into the midterms, definitely heading into 2024. So prior to this article coming out, I guess some odd months ago, Governor Abbott in Texas signed a law or something of that nature saying that basically conservative media, conservative rhetoric should not be banned on social media, even if it is, you know, of you know, radical right talk or hatred or anything of that, because they don't want to be censored, you know, free speech, all that kind of thing. Now, Governor Newsom is coming as of recent weeks saying that, okay, we can let you do that. However, we are now going to mandate social media platforms to be more transparent in the consequences and where they stand, the guidelines, parameters in terms of the speech that you do, you know, just let out and lash out across the World Wide Web. So, gentlemen, I just wanted to pose a question to you all. In your eyes, what do you see the balance being between freedom of speech and not allowing hateful rhetoric and disinformation coming out? Like, what does that look like, especially dealing with third parties like social media companies?
One thing that I really like is like have you all seen the fact checkers that sometimes pop up? If you're like reading an Instagram article, it'll have at the bottom like this has been verified as being false. Or if you're on Twitter, even when you're on Twitter, if you go to retweet an article, sometimes it will say, have you read this? Would you like to read this article before you retweet it? I think it's important that, you know, these social media platforms allow people to have their free speech, but also provide consumers with the resources they need in order to cut through the bull. I also do believe, like we often say, that freedom of speech does not equal freedom of consequence. So if you'd like to put out misinformation, then be held accountable for that misinformation. But I don't agree with censoring people. But if they are, if there's something that is potentially life-threatening or dangerous, maybe step in. But if it's just like someone making up lies and stuff, then you hold them accountable in different ways, and just make sure you're empowering your users to be able to cut through and see what the truth is. Because I want to know, I'm the type of person, I want to know what type of people are around me. And when you sit up there and, you pick and choose what you allow people to share, it also creates a false perception of the people that you're dealing with. I want to know who you are. If you are, a racist and you believe in this ignorance, please share it out so that I'll know who I'm dealing with and I can remove myself. But if the social media platforms are doing that on the front end, then it takes away our autonomy to see, A, what is true from what's not true, and B, how do I get away from people who don't align themselves with beliefs that align with my views and my values.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess to add to that, do you think that this should be a state-by-state case, or should this be federally? Like, should this be nationwide? Because I think if California wants to hold people accountable and show the truth in things, but Texas is like, nah, we good over here, does that also spread to even more confusion, on a national level?
It's definitely within the rights of the states to do this, but I think firmly that this is, to a certain extent, could possibly be an overreach. I definitely want to be able to keep children safe, as what the California law does, but I think the Texas law may be going too far. To be honest with you, a lot of what's happening in conservative states around the social media policing is a result of TikTok and how they were able to influence elections and how they're able to mobilize young voters and voters of color around the issues, and they don't want to see that continue to happen. To me, it's like being one step closer to being like Iran. It's like one step closer to being like China. It's like one step closer to being like Russia. We deserve our freedom of information, and that is what I'm afraid could be at jeopardy. But what's also at jeopardy is us going over time. Darius, what is our Black History fact of the day, as we are Black History 365 days a year, and then we will take it over to the gram.
I would like to pay homage today to a person who was born on this day in 1981, Serena Williams. Of course, Serena had an amazing run in her tennis career, and I don't think we had a chance to acknowledge her for her amazing achievements. So I just wanted to take a moment for us to think about the amazing, the amazing efforts that Serena has made to, to provide inclusivity and to show that Black women can, and to just be a great athlete, possibly the greatest athlete of all time. So kudos to Serena Williams and happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Who will be birthday? Was it Serena's birthday?
Yes, September 26, 1981.
Well, much love to the beautiful Libra and the amazing. I thought she was a Taurus, but no matter. With that being said, everybody, we will see you shortly on Instagram, where you can follow any one of us and go to our accounts to see the show. Let me tell you what we got going on tonight. We're going to talk about your boy Tekashi 6ix9ine, who is in Russia, and he said F Brittany Griner. He went right on over there, and I'm still wondering why Vladimir has swooped him up real quick, like Count Dracula does, and put him right there, line him up. Because he looks very much like a vampire as it is. We're also going to talk about, in the after show, did I already talk about all the stuff? Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. We're going to talk about Tiffany Haddish, because she said y'all done made her broke with all the rumors of the abuse. And now she said she has nothing. We're going to also talk about Kanye West and how he wants you to boycott Adidas and Gap. And I want to know if you're going to do that, because I'm happy to boycott, but I'm not boycotting those two things because of him. Tim Norman, was found guilty of murdering his, was it his nephew or his cousin? His first cousin?
His nephew. His cousin. Yeah, his cousin.
He killed his cousin, who was Miss, what's the woman name? Who was Miss Sweetie Pie?
His mother.
Sweetie Pie.
what's her name? Robbie. Killing Robbie's grandson, and now they have closed Sweetie Pies for good. And then we're going to talk about your favorite reality TV mom, Tokyo Toni, and what she had to say about you gays and men and women who happen to be trans. We're going to talk about all of it on the after show, as well as Sheree Whitfield and why she's the perfect representation of CJ. We'll talk to you and see you soon, shortly.